The road stretched endlessly beneath the burning orange sky of Arizona. Wind hissed against the black helmet of a man who hadn't smiled in a year. His name was Ryan Cole, once a racer, a rebel, a man who lived for speed. But now, he was just a shadow on two wheels. Running from the wreckage of his past a year ago, one night had changed everything. It was supposed to be a regular midnight ride, neon lights, a roaring engine, and the endless thrill of freedom. But fate doesn't warn you before it takes everything. On a lonely stretch of highway, a small figure had appeared out of nowhere, a boy chasing a football that had rolled across the road. Ryan remembered the scream of his brakes, the desperate turn of the handle, and the thundering silence after the crash. That silence still echoed in his chest every night. The boy, Ethan Miller, had survived, but he was left broken, and so was Ryan. No court, no cops, no jail, just guilt unending and sharp. Ryan left the city, the gang, and his name behind. He became nobody, a man fixing broken cars in a small-town garage, trying to fix himself in the process. The place was called Miller Auto Works. The irony of it was cruel. It belonged to Mr. Miller, a quiet, rugged mechanic whose life revolved around two things: engines and his son Ethan. Ryan never told him who he really was. He just showed up one morning, asked for work, and kept his head down. Every clang of a wrench was like a heartbeat, steady, trying to drown out the noise in his mind. Miller liked him. He's quiet, but he works hard, he told his customers. Good with his hands, probably running from something, but aren't we all? Ryan would just nod and keep tightening bolts every night. He rode to the same overlook just outside town, the only place that still felt like home. There, he'd sit with his helmet beside him, staring at the stars, whispering to no one, "I didn't mean to. God, I didn't mean to." Some nights he thought about ending it, but something, maybe guilt, maybe hope, kept him alive. A woman named Grace ran a small NGO near the hospital. Ryan had met her when he came to donate anonymously to the recovery fund for Ethan's treatment. He'd never told her why. She just thought he was a quiet donor with kind eyes and broken knuckles. Grace had that rare gift. She saw pain and didn't run from it. "You can't fix the past," she once said to him while packing donation boxes, "but you can decide what kind of man you'll be tomorrow." Ryan didn't answer, but her words stayed with him like a scar that refused to heal. One morning, everything shifted. The bell above the garage door rang, and in walked a young boy, crutches under his arm, a hesitant smile on his face. "Ethan." "Dad," he said to Mr. Miller, "can I hang around for a bit?" Miller smiled. "Sure, champ, but don't touch the tools." Ethan's eyes wandered, curious, brave, still carrying a child's light despite the limp. They stopped at Ryan, who was tightening a bike chain near the corner. "Do you ride bikes?" Ethan asked. Ryan froze for a second. His hands trembled before he spoke. "I used to." Ethan nodded. "My dad hates bikers. Says one ruined our life." Ryan's chest tightened. For the first time in months he couldn't breathe. He just forced a smile and said, "Your dad's probably right." Days passed. Ethan kept visiting the garage. Sometimes he'd sit quietly watching Ryan work, sometimes asking questions. Ryan found himself smiling again. Small, guilty smiles that hurt to wear. He'd fix a carburetor while Ethan told him stories about how he wanted to become an engineer one day, maybe even design bikes. Ryan didn't know whether to feel proud or destroyed. One evening, as Ryan locked the garage, he saw a familiar figure leaning against a black Harley outside. Vic, his old friend and leader of their biker crew. "Been a while, brother," Vic said, his voice heavy with nostalgia. "You disappeared on us." Ryan didn't look at him. "Had to." "I heard about the kid," Vic continued. "Tough break, but we're doing something good now. A charity ride for hospital kids. Maybe you should join, make peace with the road again." Ryan's eyes flickered. "The road doesn't forgive," Vic smirked. "Maybe not, but maybe the boy will." And with that, he drove off into the fading sun, leaving Ryan standing in the dust. That night, Ryan couldn't sleep. He rode aimlessly until he ended up outside the hospital, headlights off, heart heavy. Through the glass windows, he saw Grace talking to Ethan. The boy was laughing. Ryan parked the bike and walked inside, helmet in hand. Grace looked up, surprised. "Ryan, what are you doing here?" He swallowed hard. "Just wanted to check on the kid." Grace studied his face, something in her expression softening. "You care a lot for him," she said quietly. "But you're carrying something, aren't you?" Ryan looked at her, eyes breaking. "I'm the reason he's here, Grace." The room fell silent. Grace didn't speak for a long moment. Then she said, "Then make it right. Don't run again." Next morning, Ryan was gone. Mr. Miller found a note on his workbench. "Thank you for the job. I was the man who hurt your son. I've spent a year trying to pay for it. Today, I'll try to fix it." Ryan. Miller's hands trembled as he read it. He stormed out of the garage, anger, grief, and confusion in his eyes. Meanwhile, outside town, dozens of bikers lined up at the starting point of the Ride for Kids charity event. Ryan stood among them, helmet on, his bike gleaming in the morning sun. Grace was there too, quietly watching. The engines roared to life. For the first time in a year, Ryan didn't feel like running. He felt like facing it. Halfway through the route, the riders passed the town square, a crowd cheering, kids waving. Ethan stood among them, holding a small flag. Then he froze. He recognized the design on Ryan's helmet, the same one from that night he dropped the flag. Eyes wide, realizing the truth, Ryan slowed his bike, stopping right in front of him. He lifted his helmet, eyes meeting Ethan's. No words, just raw, silent understanding. Ethan's eyes filled with tears, but not hatred. Just pain. And something deeper. Ryan whispered, barely audible, "I'm sorry." The boy didn't reply, just reached out his hand and placed it gently on Ryan's scarred glove. A silent forgiveness. That in the distance. Police sirens wailed. Not for Ryan, but for an accident up ahead. One of the riders had crashed. Without hesitation, Ryan sped forward to help. He knelt beside the fallen rider, stopping the bleeding, shouting for help. The boy's voice, Ethan's, echoed behind him. "Dad, he's helping him. He's helping." Mr. Miller had arrived, pulled by the commotion, watching everything unfold. When Ryan finally turned back, Miller looked at him with eyes that had lost all anger. Maybe not acceptance yet, but understanding. The camera fades as the sun dips. Below the horizon. Ryan stands on the same empty highway where it all began. This time, no running, no guilt. Just peace. Hisvoice.com/steady echoes over the wind. We can't change what we did, but we can decide what we do next. Maybe redemption isn't found on the road ahead. Maybe it's found in the ones we choose to face behind us. He puts on his helmet, starts the engine, and rides into the fading sunset. Not to escape anymore, but to finally go home.